Hey guys, it's ANicWin, also known as Amy, and happy Saturday. I hope you're having a lovely day. This is another apartment renovation here in Myshuno. I've decided to jump into the building where Salim lives, and I can't remember what the name of the building is. It's just, I got nothing. I'm blanking. It is listed in the description below, so if you want to hop down there and read that, you can check there. If not, it should say it in the top left-hand corner. I can't see it. The rendered preview is very small and very squiggly. So it's a mystery. This unit, when you load up the game, is typically a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit. I decided to make it a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit with a home office and a large walk-in closet. And I stand by that decision. What I wanted to do was use cooler tones mixed with the darker wood flooring, along with a kind of a mixture between industrial and modern. So there's a ton of like fitness stuff. There's a ton of Journey to Batu. There's some seasons. The Dream Home Decorator got used, the industrial loft kit, and a few other, pieces and parts from other packs, but those were the big ones. And I was really surprised with how well the industrial loft kit paired with Dream Home Decorator. That was not something I expected to work, but it did. So, plot twist. But it was a happy discovery. I really genuinely thought it was going to clash kind of in the worst way, because Dream Home Decorator has kind of softer swatches, I would say. They're more muted, and the industrial loft kit is not muted. It's large, it's in charge, and it's letting you know what's going on. So yeah, that was the bathroom. I talked right through it. It was nothing super special. It fits the vibe. It did what I needed it to do, and we moved on. So we're here in the master bedroom now. I did not overclutter any of the space here. I don't think that the sim that lives here enjoys clutter. I think they have things and they spend their money on nice things, but I don't think they're very materialistic in the sense that they care about the amount. They're materialistic in the way that they care about the quality of the items that they buy. So we jumped into the master bedroom. I really just started in the top and worked my way down. Normally I would have started with the entryway or maybe even the living space and just decided to not do that this time around. I actually saved the kitchen and the living space and all of that for the end. So I don't know, I changed it up this time. I hit where inspiration struck, basically. So we're seeing the bed area come together. I placed that industrial loft kit chair in the orange swatch. It doesn't particularly match. The wood tone does. The color of the leather does not. But I like that orangey color with the blue. And I like using pops of color that are completely different than the color scheme, which is really what you're supposed to do. It's not like that's anything new or revolutionary, but it is something that I enjoy. I like when things kind of don't make sense. It's a little bit of chaos, and that's something that I enjoy. So we're finishing up this little area. Initially, I was going to put a full seating area with like a love seat or something like that in this corner, and it just didn't make sense for what I had going on. So I just went with another chair. So there are 2 chairs in this bedroom. A little unusual because they're so far apart, but I stand by it. I like the way that it looked in the end. And then we jump here into the closet. So this is the section that you walk into first. It's got the full length mirror. I did place a bar stool height chair, which is a little unusual because I could not sit there and put my shoes on. I'd either fall or just it would be not super comfortable. But the walls are so tall that any other size chair just looked a little bit weird in such a narrow space. And then I placed the shoes there. That's why I mentioned shoes earlier. It kind of looks like a spot to put your shoes on and check out your outfit before you head out the door. I do place this table off camera. I place a little bit of clutter on it, and I use that same wall lamp that was used by the beds. I think that gave a Journey to Batu as well. I really just like the metal of it, the metal framing, and the color scheme looked really nice with what the blue walls and the wood tones and all of that. So this is where the Dream Home Decorator kit really comes to shine. I had such an issue with these pieces. I couldn't lower them when they were connected I can't even really describe to you what I went through. It was really difficult, and so I eventually ended up giving up and just decorating them minimally as they are. And then off camera, I went in and lowered them down to a realistic level. I just could not make it do it. And I don't know if it was because it's an apartment and things were clipping, or if that's just the way those pieces are. I don't use them enough to know. So it could just be me, user error, and I just need to get more familiar with how they operate. But until then, that caused stress. So I am adding a little bit of clutter to the top of this. We've got some cologne, we've got some Star Wars things, we've got the boxes and stuff from Dream Home Decorator. I'm thinking they're shoe boxes. He's got accessories like watches and jewelry and maybe cufflinks and stuff like that. And I'm placing a few of those boxes kind of haphazardly up on the top of this wardrobe. I wanted it to look like he knows that they're there, and maybe he reaches for those all the time, and that's why they're placed there rather than put away. That was kind of my thought. And then we jump here into the hallway. So I was initially going to use this accent table that came with my fitness stuff, and it was just looking a little bit weird. So I went with a window that came with a Myshuno stuff pack, and I placed some shelves across the bottom. I used a normal door to get the height right because the walls are so tall, and this is such a narrow hallway that I couldn't really tell how high up or down low that I was, so that's what was up with that. And I decided to go with a gray swatch on the window and the shelves, and I like it. It's soft, but it stands out enough that it definitely looks like it was on purpose. And then for decoration, I kind of wanted to emulate what was in the little wall lights beside it, which I think those came with Strangerville, but that kind of, not even a bronze, what would you call it? It's not really brass either, but I was kind of going with that metallic color, and so I was picking out orangey wood tones. That flower, as you can see, not flower, that candle that kind of looks like a flower has that orange tone, although I end up deleting that, and everything else has that kind of masculine metallic vibe going on. And I also pulled out a little tablet thinking that he grabs that on his way out the door when he has to leave. Or ideally it would have been a cell phone, but the cell phone in the debug menu looks like the first generation iPhone, and it just did not spark joy for me. So I did not grab it. But that's pretty much it for the walkway here. I really like this. I haven't done anything like this before. I can't really recall if I've seen it, although I'm sure it's out there. But I liked using that as opposed to a normal table. It just gave it a little bit of individuality, we'll say. And then down in this section, I think I placed a potted plant and two more of these wall lamps, which I lower down in the screenshots as well because they're just ridiculously high up on the wall. And that's pretty much it for the walkway, or hallway, as some people call it. And then we jump here into the office. The office is raised on a platform, and the kitchen is raised on a platform. The living space is kind of sunken in, or it's given the appearance that it's sunken in. It's on the same height as the rest of the apartment. I like that. It gives, the space a good amount of separation, and I just like it. I like platform spaces. They spark joy. And this office is kind of set up so that they could receive clients. So I'm thinking that this guy is perhaps a lawyer, a freelancer, I forgot the word, a freelancer, or maybe even someone in the acting industry. I don't think he acts. I think maybe he's a stage manager, or maybe he is an agent or something like that. And this is pretty much his home base when he's not on set. That's kind of what I was picturing. So his desk is set up in that way, kind of. So you see the business cards. He's got a manila file folder as if he was looking over things, and then he's got chairs facing the desk as if he has meetings regularly. And then I go ahead and start decorating the walls. I do keep this shelf, I guess is what it's called, but I pull out this bookcase from, it's either Season, City Living, or My Fitness. I can never remember. I think it's City Living though, because I pulled this one out because it's slim, but it's short, and it's got enough of a height difference between the two sections that I was able to stagger these paintings, and it made it look a little bit different. The wall height is something I really struggle with. I don't like the tallest walls. It's so hard for me to not want to decorate all the way up to the ceiling, and it just looks strange. And the way that things are sized in this game, it's not something that you can really feasibly do without making it look like you did too much. Does that make sense? I hope so. But I just kind of go in and fill out this shelf just a little bit. I don't place everything on every single open spot because we would have been here all day, and it just didn't fit with kind of the vibe that I was getting from this sim. Again, I think he is materialistic, but I don't think he's necessarily quantity. I won't say it again, I promise. I do give him the little wellness stool. I don't go with the poof. I go with the original one just because one, the colors matched, and two, the poof was a little too whimsical, and I don't think this is a whimsical sim. And then briefly, I was thinking about making the living space more angular, but the room is not the right shape for it, and it's not the right size. So I end up shifting it over here to this corner. It's not centered with that window, but the window was centered in the hallway, so I didn't change it. I left it as is. It bothers me a little bit, a tiny, tiny, tiny bit, but not enough for me, like I said, to make the change. So the living space is small in comparison to the apartment. I don't think that this particular sim is home a lot, like he's working from home, but then when he's socializing, he's out. He's at bars, he's at clubs, at lounges, he's at shows. He's just an on-the-go kind of guy. If he brings people back here, it's not for anything serious. Like he's not hosting a movie night, right? He's not having like a dinner party here. If he's going to have a dinner party, he's going out to a restaurant where he's going to book something. Like that's just the vibe that I got from this guy. And then I placed this wall clock over top of the archway, and I used the Journey to Batu wall decoration, whatever that thing is, just to kind of give it a different look. I've done that before. I like the way that it looks. I like placing clocks in homes, but I don't think we have enough options. And I'm probably the only one who thinks that, and that's fine. It's totally fine. But I would be happy with like 2 to 3 more design choices. That's all I'm saying. Then we jump here into the kitchen, and as you can see, I am using the base game counters. I'm going to say it backwards because I've been saying it backwards all day. But I use the base game counters. I use black appliances, and then I use the Dream Home Decorator cabinets. I said it right. Look at me go. I wanted the cabinets to be a solid color, and I honestly don't like the uppers that go with those lowers. They just look weird. They don't really match. I'm going to stand by that. I will fight that to the bitter end because they don't. They don't match, and you can't convince me that they do. Then I give him a small island. I was briefly going to have the kitchen wrap all the way around. It ended up being a little too big, so I decided not to go with that. And it kind of cuts off, but I think it looks good still. It looks like it's finished. I mean, it looks like that's how the kitchen is supposed to be. And I'm surprised by how much I enjoyed this space because I struggled. You guys don't see it on camera, but the kitchen is the last room that I did basically, and it took me the longest. I think it took me like 45 minutes to figure out what I was doing with this space, and it was just I don't know why it was so difficult, but it was. But I'm adding some clutter here. I gave him the coffee pot, as you can see. I'm thinking that the planter above the stove is really like a little like herb garden. I don't think it's succulents and cacti. So you gotta have to use your imagination on that. And I'm placing out a few things, like he has the little hot pot, the little pot of chilies. I'm trying not to over clutter the kitchen. It was really hard to resist that temptation. And then I'm placing some movie posters above. I was going to place little statues and things like that, like collector's items on top of the cabinets, and I decided it was a little too Bachelor pad, and it just didn't look right. It didn't fit my vibe. So I placed the movie posters instead. I use a poster behind the posters to line them up evenly since the walls are 2 different textures. If you're wondering what's happening there, those go away. And I ended up liking that even more. It's still got that collector's item feel, but it doesn't look super tacky. At least I don't think so. I mean, it's all a matter of perception and opinion, but I liked the way that this looked better than having like little figurines and stuff up there like I did before. It looked a little too childlike. I then add the storage locker, and I add some appliances on top to look like clutter. I do go back and change that in just a moment after I place some more of this very minimal clutter, as I'm calling it. I decide that a popcorn maker looks a little too happy. That sounds so silly, but it did. So I swap it out with the jars. I do change them to this yellow, possibly green swatch. I can't really tell. and I place the cookbooks with a fruit bowl, and I give him some cooking utensils, and that's pretty much it for the kitchen. I do kind of throw in some paper towels and stuff like that. And then we're going to segue into the dining space and finish up the back of the living room. So I'm going to leave you guys here. I hope you enjoyed this one. Feel free to leave me a like or a comment down below letting me know what you think. You can also subscribe if that's something that would spark joy for you. I will be posting the screenshots on Instagram if you want to head over there and check those out. I will see you on Wednesday with my next video, and in the meantime, I hope you have a lovely day and a lovely rest of your weekend. Bye guys.
What's left of last night behind, and I need to get some peace of mind. And when I need some peace of mind, I know where to find it. Is by the end of the road. So I walk and I keep on walking. I wear are a mess. As I walk, and I keep on walking till I'm at the end of the road. I walk until my feet are hurting, and I need to keep on going further, 'cause I can't keep my mind off things I'd be better off to leave behind.